From the IMTV Wave Channel 5 studio at Greenville Senior High School, home of the Greenville Green Wave, the Greenville Veterans Memorial Park and Digital Library proudly presents Never Stop Serving.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Never Stop Serving. I'm Samuel Plock and I'm your host for Never Stop Serving. This series is sponsored by Greenville High School's Interactive Media class and Veterans Memorial Park and Digital Library. Today, our special guests are Darrell Isaac, Commander of VFW Post 9936 in downtown Dayton, and Dustin Clark, Junior Vice Commander. Please welcome them to our show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Darrell, please tell us about your origin story, where you grew up, your parents' high school.
All right then. Well, it's a long story. My father was a Marine. He served in World War II, Korea and Vietnam. So when he was stationed in the Brooklyn Naval Station in New York, Brooklyn, New York, that's where he met my mom, and that's where I was born. I was a Marine Corps brat. Ended up, long story short, go to Jacksonville, North Carolina, where my father, where I graduated from high school, and then I joined the Air Force in 1973. I actually was 17 years old when I joined the Air Force, so went off to tech school, ended up becoming what was called electronic warfare systems technician, and got selected for the electronic security service and became an air crew member eventually, and started flying as a technician on board reconnaissance aircraft. So I was there at the end of Vietnam, at Grenada, and then most of the Desert Storm, etc. So it was a pretty good career. Like I said, my family was so we're pretty attached to the military.
Yeah, a very long and rich career. Lot of legacy there, and that's what we like on this show, telling your legacy. Dustin, tell us about your origin story.
So, like he said, my name is Dustin Clark. I'm only 31, so I'm quite young as a veteran. Matter of fact, I was born in 1989. I actually went to Trotwood. So I'm pretty sure you guys have played us in some sports and things like that. But just like Darrell did, I joined when I was 17. I didn't have any prior influences to join the military. So I did it because I didn't feel like going to college, and I wanted to serve my country, and I felt it was the best thing for me to do. So I joined the reserves when I was 17 under a program called Split Options. So between my junior and senior year of high school, I went to boot camp and was in the reserves. Finished out my senior year of high school, was again at Trotwood, and then I went to active duty. Now, when I was in active duty, I was trained as an Avenger crew member. And what that did was train me to shoot down helicopters and airplanes using the Stinger missile. Now, I went to Iraq in 2009, so about 6 or 7 months after I joined the Army and left high school, I was in Iraq. In 2011, I spent a tour in Kuwait, and then in 2014, I was in Afghanistan. Now, when I deployed, I was no longer an Avenger crew member. I was a CRAM technician. CRAM stands for Counter Rocket Artillery and Mortar. And what that did was use a system of radars to track incoming mortar and rocket rounds. And I served as a early warning system for the FOB, so we could get EMTs, we could get EOD to where any of the ordnance had landed, and we could send outgoing fire, or we could get QRF, which stands for Quick Reaction Force, out to the site where they had fired from. Now, I left active duty in 2015, and I joined the reserves. I wanted a break from active duty, but I felt that I wasn't done serving my country, so I decided to go back into the reserves. And that's why I've been serving for the past, I want to say, almost 6 years now, so since 2015. And now I'm just a wheel mechanic, and that's what I do 1 weekend a month, 2 weeks a year. Now, on top of that, I decided to join the VFW, not only to give back to my community, but also to help other veterans, come together and have a little bit of camaraderie that you would have while you were in the military. And that's why I joined the VFW, because again, I have a great need to serve other people. And that's a little bit of my backstory.
Well, I'm almost your age because I'm going to be turning 30 on November 3rd.
Oh yeah, we're pretty close in age. Look at that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I was a Greenville High School veteran myself in interactive media. I'm not a veteran of a war, but I was a veteran of this class.
Right, okay, yeah.
Yep, so I know what these guys are doing, and I'll tell you, this footage is going to look great. Your stories will be broadcast to many people, hopefully, those who watch this.
Fantastic.
Well, would you please tell us what branch of the service that you served for and how long you served?
Darrell?
So I was in the Air Force the entire time. It was all the way up to 1984, and I was my job was being the airborne maintenance technician on board RC-135s and C-130s. These planes were specially configured as airborne listening posts, electronic intercept, things like that. So I was basically stationed, it was called being TDY, so I was almost never home. I was in England, for instance, in Germany, and Okinawa, and I've even been to Iceland. So most of my time was spent overseas for one reason or another. You might have heard about in the news lately about these planes that are flying. They fly the Russian borders and war areas, and they gather intelligence. So I was actually in Germany for a long time. It was basically called the Berlin for Lunch Bunch. Before the wall went down, just before the wall went down, we used to fly reconnaissance over East Germany and do troop counts and things like that. So I ended up leaving Germany and coming to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where I finally ended up at the 4950th Test Wing. And the Test Wing is a group of people that, well, it was before it moved to California. So it actually, we had airplanes that were for rent. I think government contractors would come in and try to sell the Air Force prototypes of different systems, either weapon systems or radar systems, or systems or more or less top secret that they were trying to test on aircraft, military aircraft. So they would use our aircraft, we'd put everything together, and then we would evaluate whether or not, let's say, Motorola or Raytheon, just for instance, would try to sell us something. And was that system workable? Did it pass Air Force specs? Would we buy it? Bottom line.
It has to be a good investment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and of course you would have more than one company vying for a contract. So we'd have one company doing one thing on one plane, another company doing another thing on another plane. And this also was kind of a lot of fun because we got to ride in different aircraft and go different places. I actually was in Aruba for quite a while. That was a fun assignment. We were working for U.S. Geophysics Lab and the University of Alaska and NASA at the same time. They were trying to map the E and H fields of the Earth by sending up satellites and dropping chemicals into the atmosphere, and they were going to try to put an aurora borealis in the southern hemisphere. It was kind of a neat. But the best part was I got to stay in Aruba for a month.
Yes.
So anyway, I ended up getting out of the military here for personal reasons, and ended up going to General Motors, and I joined the VFW for the same reasons that Dustin did. Still wanted to help veterans and take care of people that needed taken care of, and just become part of the veteran community, because I still wanted to serve, and do something. I just feel so connected to the veteran community as a whole. So anyway, settled down here, and I'm happy to be here.
That's great. We're happy that you're telling your story. Darrell, how about you? Dustin.
Again,
Sorry.
I've been in the Army the whole time. Like I said, I'm still currently serving. So it's been a long 14 years for me, almost 15, in a few months. And that's how long I've been in. Again, I was air and missile defense, shooting down helicopters and airplanes. And then I did CRAM during my deployment. Now, I did talk about the early warning system, but we also had intercept capabilities. If anybody's seen Star Wars,
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you know who R2D2 is?
Yes,
Okay.
he's an asthmatech droid.
Absolutely.
We need one of those in real life.
Uh-oh.
Pardon the interruptions. Teachers, due to not having a wait time today, please count the dress-up students during first period and put that on the form. If you do not have access to that form, please take a list to Mrs. Bush in study hall. Again, please count your dress-up students during first period today. Thank you.
You're gonna cut all this stuff out and make us look good, right?
Yes, they're very talented.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I've seen. I know what R2D2 is. He's basically an onboard mechanic for
Yeah.
X-wings and Y-wings.
Absolutely. So the intercept weapon that we used actually looks like a giant R2D2 with a 6-barrel Gatling gun on it.
Wow.
And the barrels to this gun are over 6 feet tall. I have a picture of me standing next to one, and I'm looking up at the top of the barrel. And we used that type of weapon for intercept capabilities. So not only were we able to see where the rounds were coming from, we were able to knock those rounds out of the sky and save lives in turn. So they would shoot these rounds into the compound or the FOB, forward operating base, and it was my job to shoot those out of the sky and make sure that people, that we were protecting on the base, had no harm or injury done to them.
Now, here's a question for
Yeah.
both of you. How would you feel if the Navy and the Air Force, when space travel is perfected and we can go into space, how do you think the Navy and Air Force and all the military ranks would do in space with spacecraft and all that?
Well, what we're doing now is we're creating a space force. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have heard of those things. And I feel that they would come up with something, particular to space travel. I think the Navy, the Army, and the Air Force would still stay here on Earth and keep doing what we're doing. But I think we would lend capabilities to the Space Force that they don't have specialties in.
Yes.
So I think things would keep going the same, and we would adapt and overcome to new terrain.
Well, there you go. I would like to be like a Star Trek, Star Wars type explorer and see planets.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
I think astronomers a few years ago discovered a real-life desert planet that they named Tatooine. I heard that on the news.
I wouldn't doubt that. Everybody likes Star Wars, and I think they took some influences from that. Yeah.
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 Life imitating art.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do either of you have any memories from your military experience or service that you would like to share?
Well, when I was talking about being in Germany,
Yeah.
so I don't. Have you heard of the movie The Bridge of Spies?
No.
Okay. That was Tom Hanks, I believe. But there's an actual bridge in Germany that they used to do spy exchanges. So it's East and West Germany. They would have the East Germans or the Russians, and the Americans would be on one side, and the black limousines would be on one side, black limousines on the other side, and they'd stand there with Uzis and machine guns, and they'd let one guy walk this way and another guy walk the other way and pass each other, and they would do the spy exchanges. And the last spy exchange was from the United States to Russia, involving, I think we were getting back, it was actually Israeli. I'm not quite sure of the specifics.
Time frame,
yeah.
what war?
What war? Oh, this is peacetime.
Cold War.
It was the Cold War.
Yes.
Correct. And it was the actual, if you can look it up, this was the last spy exchange on that bridge. The
When?
1980, so it came back in 87, so I think about 1986. But the coolest thing for me was that I was in this C-130 and we were circling over the bridge and looking down and recording what was happening. And I just was looking out that window and thinking, this is the neatest thing I've ever seen. It was like I was part of a movie watching this thing actually happen, and with the black limousines here and the black limousines here, the CIA agents here and the Russian equivalent over there, and watch these two guys just pass each other and go to the respective stations. And I just thought, I was part of history.
Yes, I'll tell you, you were there at the right time.
Yeah.
And now you've imprinted yourself in history.
Absolutely. You know, for me, a lot of the experience that I dealt with, and I think anybody who would join the military, thinks to join the military, I think it really has to do with a lot with the people that you meet while you're serving. Your brothers and sisters at arms, and dealing with them and creating a bond and a connection with them, I think was one of the best experiences I've had, and what's kept me from leaving the military service. Creating bonds with people in the VFW, and things like that. And I would say that any young person that wants to join the military, sometimes days suck. Okay.
Just like in the real world.
Yeah, days suck, just like in the real world. But the people that you meet and the people that you serve with, you're all experiencing that together. And those are the type of memories that you will create, and you'll look back on fondly and remember the people that you served with.
Yeah.
And you'll remember that bond you have. And it's something that I keep close to my heart, is that bond. And I think if anybody wants to join the military, no matter how much it sucks, you'll get past it, and you'll look back on it with fond memories.
That sounds great. Yeah, that is so true. And it's not only true for the military, but true for any occupation. I work at the McDonald's Northtown, and that's the kind of feelings I have. Yeah, days suck, but the memories of people that I work with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
See, now what do you both do now for veterans?
We actually do quite a lot. I know that the overall impression that people have of VFWs these days is only what they see on the side of the road. A building that has a bar inside, maybe they see the picnics, but the fact is that that's just a means of support, just like anything else. It could be a donut shop, it could be a coffee shop, seriously. So we raise money, and we raise money for veterans. Now, we give veterans help in a lot of different ways. Active duty veterans and their families can come to us if they need help with bills, medical expenses. That's one way they can receive help from us. We also help steer them towards people that can help them, like the VA or county commissioners. We advocate for them. We have a children's home in Michigan. This children's home is huge. It's actually a little town with a school and a farm. They raise animals. If you're widowed and your husband or wife was a service person and you need a place to stay in order to get back on your feet with your children, we'll set you up in a house up there, and your children will be watched, and you will be eligible for retraining if you need to learn a skill to get back on your feet. So it's a very, and this is a lot of money. I mean, there's every state helps to contribute to this little area up in Michigan. It's a wonderful thing to go and visit and see the children up there and what we're doing. So that's just one part of the things that we do. We also have many programs where we have scholarships for writing skills and speaking skills, and we honor teachers. We have a Teacher of the Year award, a Firefighter of the Year award, Policeman of the Year award. So we take care of the community also. My post actually got through giving away over 100 meals a couple of weeks ago to the local community. So we, besides the fact that we sit around and we have a few drinks together and whatnot, we still work for, the people that we take care of.
And that is so important. That we do need to take care of each other, especially in the current times where there's not enough people working, and we need to take. And COVID is still a thing, unfortunately.
Yes.
But one day it will all end. But for now, and even beyond COVID, we need to take care of each other, and that is so important. What the VFW does. Darrell, tell us about the VFW that you serve, the history and everything about it.
Well, we're located in 1720 East 3rd Street. It's pretty close to the heart of downtown Dayton. We're just a little away from the ball field. What's the new name of that ball field? They changed it. I can't remember.
I remember.
It's terrible.
Dare.
Dayton. Anyway, so the building itself is roughly over 100 years old?
I would say the building itself is about 140 years old. It was an old-time funeral home back in the 1800s, so 1880 is around the time that building in particular was built. And it was gifted to us. How long ago was that, Darrell?
If I remember, it's like 1953. I'm just pulling this number out of my head, but I believe I remember the birthday. It's like January 26th, and I know that day, but the year I think is like 1953. It was given to us by the family that owned it.
Okay, yeah.
And so it's kind of a trust, and it's also in the historical district too.
Yeah.
So
our building's fairly old.
Wow.
A lot older than most. I think a lot older than all of us, actually. So that's a little bit about our building. Again, with us being a historical building, there are a lot of things that go into keeping that building going and staying standing and being serviceable and things like that. Like Darrell was saying earlier, our VFW post 9936 is very invested in helping the community around us. There's a lot of people who need help. So when Darrell said that, or the commander, I do apologize, said that we gave over 100 meals away, that was very helpful for the community. We do have a lot of veterans who don't come in, and that was one way of us showing a helping hand to them.
Yes.
because a lot of them, they want to stay to themselves, but at the same time, the camaraderie that you have in a VFW is something that can help a lot of people who are in the military, day-to-day operations. Your mental health is a big factor in the VFW. Being around other veterans and like-minded individuals will help you cope during the day, and that's one of the things that we strive to help veterans with.
Yes, that is so important.
And we're also trying to reach out more to the local community. We have plans to visit with Stivers, and we haven't gone there yet, so when they see this, they may be surprised. But this young man over here, I'm sending him over there to, because Stivers is an art school, and we have projects that we'd like to do. Jump ahead here. There's a gentleman that was born in Dayton. I'm not going to mention his name because I just don't want to let the cat out of the bag, and I haven't asked his permission yet, but I do have plans. So I want to rename the post after this gentleman. He is a recipient of the Medal of Honor. He's still alive, and he was born here in Dayton. So I think it would be wonderful for us to rename the post after him, being a native of Dayton. And I'm trying to get a lot more focused as far as our post goes, more have a little bit more military history, make it a place where you can actually walk in and see veterans stories, veterans that were born in Ohio, specifically Dayton and outward. But I'd like people to walk in there and be able to see, it's a large building, we have 3 floors, so we have a lot of room in there to where we can actually honor our vets and people that served in from the local area. And I kind of try to refocus the purpose of that building more towards the memory of our veterans and honoring them.
So one of the things that we look for and we're looking for in the BFW are we have different scholarships, different programs, things that we are reaching out to Stivers, and I'm pretty sure other BFWs can reach out to local schools. Again, he was talking about the writing projects that we have that go all the way up to a national level where young people can get scholarships to go to college on things like that. So if any of the young people are looking to get involved into a BFW, we have, what is it called, Patriot Pen, I believe it's called.
Patriot Pen.
Yeah, Patriot Pen. And that's more of a speaking and a essay type program. Again, I know we are looking for our students who would be able to make a statue and things like that we would be able to give money to a scholarship for them as well. So if some young people were looking to get involved in the VFW without being a veteran, those are some of the things that they can reach out to their local VFW and ask about.
Yes, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think a lot of young people would appreciate that just as much as we would appreciate to hear their essays and their thoughts on things pertaining to the subject that they're given.
And the other thing that these projects seem to do, if we reach out to the local schools, is that you have students out there that they have parents and grandparents that were veterans, and I'd like to pique their curiosity into what did my mother, my father, my grandmother, my grandfather, my great-grandparents, what did they do as a veteran? So a lot of people don't know their stories, and this might be a chance for them to, in retrospect, connect with them.
Yeah.
And actually I would like to, these projects that you're doing right here is the same thing. It's like, let's get them involved, and maybe even get the student to go back to their parent or grandparent and go like, hey, there's a VFW down the road and they would like you to come in and say hi.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any special events or information to share with our viewers. I know, Darrell, you did go to the 9/11 anniversary in Pennsylvania with Mike Maloney. Tell us more about that.
Well, in my other career, I traveled quite a bit, and I had a chance to go to Pennsylvania a few years ago by myself. Once I went there, I decided that this was something that I wanted my post to do, and I felt that most Americans should actually do this, but specifically, the veterans from my post and the auxiliary people, because of the feeling that you get when you go there. So 2 years ago, we arranged for a trip, and we were there, and we didn't actually get to go in, but at the beginning, we had to stand outside because the family we respected. Out of respect for the families, the ceremony is private. But once it's over, you can go in and see what's and experience it for yourself. Now, we plan on doing this. We did this year with Mike Maloney, and the digital library went with us, and we were actually privileged to see the ceremony. It was very touching, and
very somber feeling.
Yeah.
When you go in, dealing with those families who lost loved ones during that day, and sitting through their memorial service. It's a very, very somber feeling that you get when you're there.
Yeah.
And being, like I said the year prior to that, was that when you're there and you go through, you walk yourself through the experience, and you just gaze out over the field, and you put yourself in that particular moment, you lose yourself, okay, and you connect more, I think, with the average American, as we all did that day, and you realize that maybe we have differences of opinions, different lifestyles, whatever, but there's still something that connects us. And every once in a while, you need to go back to your basics and remember that as Americans, we still have a connection with each other no matter what. And I think this is a reason to go for anybody.
Yes, that's a very good reason. Well, thank you, Darrell, and thank you, Dustin, for your great and awesome service to our country.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for inviting us here.
You're welcome. Glad to have you on our show. Here at Never Stop Serving, we highlight veterans that continue to serve beyond their military service. We would like to announce the annual Veterans Memorial Park and Digital Library Talent Show has been set at the Miami Valley Veterans Museum in Troy, Ohio. The 007 Talent Show is approaching quickly on November 13th. Talent acts and sponsors are needed. Please contact gvmpdl@gmail.com. That's gvmpdl@gmail.com. It is a fun and exciting event. Please do not miss this great opportunity. Please continue to watch for upcoming episodes of Never Stop Serving. We have a full-packed season and a lot of guests, so please stay tuned. Also, continue to watch the Veterans Memorial Park and Digital Library Facebook page for upcoming events and updates. If you are a veteran and would like to share your story, please send us an email at gvmpdl@gmail.com. That's gvmpdl@gmail.com. Thank you for watching. This is Samuel Plock signing off.
Thank you for watching. Please visit us on our social media sites. Please consider contributing to our mission in some way. Also, we are always looking for veterans and their families to share their stories with us. Be sure to join us next week for our next episode of Never Stop Serving.